All right, let's jump right into a really powerful modern take on an ancient myth. We're talking about a story that finally gives the microphone to a character who's been silent for, well, centuries.
Wow. Just let that sink in for a second. I was the cause, the curse, the collateral. These aren't the words of some cherished queen or a damsel in distress. Right, this sounds like a verdict, a judgment delivered with this heavy, cold, brutal honesty. So the big question is, who is this? Who's speaking these lines? Who is taking this classic tale of heroes and demons and turning it on its head, making it a personal story of loss and devastation? Well, that voice. It belongs to Sita. But the words, the fire behind them, were given to her by the incredible Indian poet, novelist, and translator, Meena Kandasamy. Now, to get a feel for Kandasamy, you've got to understand she's not a subtle writer. Not at all. Her style is famous for being incredibly bold, totally unapologetic. Her work is all about dismantling systems of power, especially those built on caste and gender. She has this amazing way of reaching back into myths, finding these women and recasting them not as victims, but as absolute rebels. She's all about amplifying the voices that history tried to mute.
Okay, so to really get why this poem hits so hard, you first need to know the traditional story it's pushing back against. We have to take a quick look at the original myth of Sita. So you probably know the classic story, right? The Ramayana. In it, Sita is the perfect wife of the hero Rama. She gets abducted by the demon king Ravana, and this single act kicks off a massive, epic war. Rama gathers this huge army, goes to the island of Lanka, and fights this incredible battle to win her back. But here's the thing about that traditional version. Sita doesn't really have much to do. She's often just there. She's the symbol of virtue, the ideal of purity, the ultimate prize to be won. Her story isn't really hers. It's just a chapter in the story of the men fighting over her. But what if that's just one side of the story? The hero's side? What if the prize at the center of it all actually had a voice of her own? And this is where Kandasamy's poem just blows the doors off the original. She doesn't just retell the myth. It's like she hands Sita the pen and says, okay, your turn. Tell us what really happened.
Just look at this breakdown. It says it all. In the old myth, she's a passive prize. In Kandasamy's poem, she is an active witness to everything that went down. The perfect symbol of virtue becomes a complicated, messy survivor. And this is the biggest one for me. The reason for the war becomes the war's biggest accuser.
I mean, listen to this. There is zero romance here, no epic adventure. Kandasamy's Sita describes her abduction with this raw, painful language. The raw animal, the slaughterhouse, the iron grip. This is not some fairy-tale kidnapping. This is the testimony of someone who survived a brutal, violent attack.
And this is the gut punch, really. She's saying that nobody, not her captor, not even her rescuer, truly saw her as a person. She was just an object, a justification for men to fight. A slab of meat, the war that you waged for me. She's saying, I was never a person to you. I was just an excuse.
So think about how that completely flips the script. From her point of view, she's not the prize in some heroic victory. She is the epicenter of a complete catastrophe. She's the cause, the curse, the collateral damage. She's the kingdom that was lost, the brothers who were killed, the wife who was ultimately doomed. The war wasn't for her. It was fought over her body. And everyone, especially her, paid a horrific price. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. Why is this so important? Why does one poem, a retelling of an old story, carry so much weight for us today? Well, it really boils down to three huge things. First, it's about reclaiming agency. It gives a voice, a rich inner world, to a character who is basically a prop. Second, it's a direct challenge to patriarchy. It calls out any story where women are treated like property or just an excuse for men to fight. And third, it humanizes a myth. It pulls Sita down from this divine pedestal and shows her as a real, complex, suffering, but unbelievably resilient person. So at the end of the day, this poem, it's about so much more than just Sita. It's about power. It makes us ask a really fundamental question about every story we hear. Whose voice is this? And maybe more importantly, whose voice are we not hearing? And that's the thought I want to leave you with. Think about all the myths, the histories, the fairy tales you grew up with. What other stories have you only ever heard from one person's point of view?